ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here Lord Kapila is further explaining. Here explained about the different manifestation of material elements, which are 24 in number. And then Lord Kapila talks about time, which is another manifestation of the Supreme Lord, another energy of the Supreme Lord, which has a devastating effect, which has a destroying effect in the material world. It's like in the last verse we saw. The time factor, as I've explained, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom the creation begins as a result of the agitation of neutral, unmanifested nature. So, according to the time factor, the creation begins. And the creation begins not by itself. The creation begins because the Supreme Lord agitates that neutral energy of the Supreme Lord. By His touch, by His glance, the material energy is agitated and activities begin in that as per time. So this is how Lord Kapila has explained. Here, in today's verse, Lord Kapila is explaining. The Lord is present, the Lord is manifested inside and outside. Outside, he already explained that the Lord manifests as Kala, time. That is outside the body of the living entity. And inside the body of the living entity, the Supreme Lord manifests as Super Soul, Paramatma. So, that is how it is said here, Antaha Purusha Rupena. Inside, the Lord manifests as Purusha Rupena, as Paramatma. Kala Rupena Yo Bahihi. And outside, the Lord manifests in the form of time, Kala Rupena. Samanveti Esha Sattvanam Bhagavan Atma Mayaya. And all these different elements are thus adjusted by the Supreme Lord through His multifarious potencies, Atma Maya. So that is being described here. Now it is very important to understand. Prabhupada explains that very nicely. How the Supreme Lord exhibits himself in so many different varieties of ways. Just like here it is said, Antaha Paramatma Purusha Rupena, and outside as Kala. So all these different manifestations of the Supreme Lord, it is possible by Atma Maya. This is very important. This principle, which is explained in Bhagavatam, how the Supreme Lord manifests by his own potencies, is very important. It is said in Vishnu Puran, Ekadesha sthitas agner jyosana vistarini yatha parasya brahmana shaktihi tathedam akhilam jagat. So this verse from Vishnu Puran explains how the Supreme Lord manifests in varieties of ways. So how does he do? Ekadeshe sthitasya agner. Just like the fire, it is at one place, Ekadesha sthita. Or the sun, it is situated at one place. But Jyotsana Vistarini Yatha. The energy of the sun in the form of heat and light, Jyotsana, it is spread everywhere. Vistarini, it is spread out. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, he also stays in one place. Which is that place? Brahma Samhita says that. Anyone? Goloka eva nivasati akhilatma bhuto. So same thing is explained in Brahma Samhita. Just like in Vishnu Puran it is said, Ekadesha sthita sagner jyotsana vistarini yatha. Just like Agni or the sun is staying in one place, but jyotsana is spread everywhere. Similarly, Brahma Samhita says, Goloka eva nivasati, the Supreme Lord stays in Goloka Vrindavan. And it is also said about the Supreme Lord, Vrindavanam parityajya padam ekam nagacchati. He does not leave Vrindavan at all, even 1 feet. The Lord does not go outside of Vrindavan. So the Lord stays in Goloka Vrindavan Dham. And there he is busy in giving pleasure to his confidential pure devotees. So that is how the Vedic literature says the nature of the Supreme Lord is Anandamyo Bhyasa. He is simply enjoying Paramananda in the spiritual world. But Akhilatma Bhuto, at the same time, the Supreme Lord is present in every living entity, even though he is staying in Goloka Vrindavan. So, the same thing we can see here. Prabhupada explains that what do we understand by this verse. So he says, just like it is because of the energy of the sun, the heat and light, the whole cosmic manifestation is made possible. Its creation, its sustenance and annihilation is made possible because of the heat and light of sun, which is agreed even by the scientists. The planetary movements of the different planet is possible. It is possible because of the heat and light of sun. The different vegetations we are seeing, the varieties of fruits and flowers and vegetation we are able to see is made possible by heat and light of sun. So all these different kinds of things we can see. So similarly, the life in this material manifestation is made possible by the energy of the Supreme Lord. Even though he is staying in Goloka Vrindavan Dham, because of the energy of the Supreme Lord being manifested in varieties of ways in this material manifestation, everything is possible. Life is made possible here, even in this material world. So, Prabhupada explains about this very nicely. He says, if I have to do a work, I am sitting here at one place, but if I have a work where my presence is required, house, then I'll have to go there personally. But the Supreme Lord, for the Supreme Lord, there is no such restriction. He can be simultaneously present in Goloka Vrindavan and simultaneously present everywhere. See, he can be simultaneously present. I cannot be simultaneously present. Okay, I can do something with some energy. I have some work to be done. I may not do it personally and my energies may carry out. But I cannot be simultaneously present in both the places. But the Supreme Lord can be simultaneously present by Atma Mayaya. So the example is given here. Yes, he is present outside as Kala and he is present inside the living entities as Paramatma. So simultaneously, he is in Goloka Vrindavan, he is in every living entity's heart, he is present outside as Kala. So actually no one can deny the existence of the Supreme Lord. Externally also is present, internally also is present. Just like Kunti Maharani also prays, Antar Bahir Avastitam Maya Javanika Channam Agnada Dhokshajam Abhyayam Na Lakshya Se Mudha Drisha Nato Natya Dharo Yatha. But because of being covered by illusion, we cannot understand, we cannot see the hand of the Supreme Lord present everywhere. That is not possible. So, otherwise, just like in Bhagavad Gita also, Prabhupada explains about this, the Supreme Lord being present, Antaha Purusha Rupena. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Anybody will quote that verse? The Supreme Lord is present in the heart of every living entity. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. There is one more verse. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshu arjuna tishtati. Brahmayan sarva bhutanam yantra rudhani mayaya. So, we can see that the Supreme Lord is present in the heart of every living entity. That is also stated in the Upanishad that if this body is compared to the tree, then the Supreme Lord and the living entities can be compared to the two birds which are sitting on the same tree. And the difference between these two birds is that one is engrossed in enjoying the sweet, so-called sweet and bitter fruits of that tree. And then it is also going from one tree to another, one branch to another. trying to taste the different fruits. The other bird is described as indifferent. So one bird is engrossed, completely engrossed in trying to enjoy the fruits. Another bird, Paramatma, is completely indifferent. He is not interested. When somebody is not inclined, isn't it? So he is not inclined in enjoying the temporary fruits of this material body, sukha and dukkha. So what does he do? He is not inclined to enjoy. He facilitates the enjoying spirit of the living entity. He facilitates. What does he do for that? Anumanta upadrishta. As it is said in the Vedic literatures, not even a blade of grass can move without the sanction of the Lord. It's a fact. Not even a blade of grass can move without the sanction of the Lord. So when something is happening in our life, at least devotees should be convinced, sanction of the Supreme Lord is there. If we are facing some miserable situation in our life, sanction of the Supreme Lord is there. Isn't it? Supreme Lord has sanctioned for whatever different reasons. For the karmis, the difference is Supreme Lord sanctions according to their karma. If one is entitled to enjoy, the Supreme Lord sanctions his so-called material enjoyment. Karmana deva netrena, it is all by his supervision he sanctions. Of course, the Supreme Lord does not do it directly. If the living entity is very inclined to enjoy varieties of eating habits, he likes to eat whatever nonsense, then the Supreme Lord, he orders Maya, yes, give him the body of a hog, and material nature facilitates and gives us that body. So according to our karma, we get the different kinds of fruits in this material existence. But for the devotees, the Supreme Lord controls that happiness and distress. If the Supreme Lord feels that yes, this material happiness he deserved as per his karma, but actually if this material happiness he gets, he may get diverted in his devotional service, the Supreme Lord may not give, may not sanction. You see. And sometimes when the Lord has given some facility to the devotee, and the devotee is not very mature enough to utilize everything in the service of the Lord, rather he becomes entangled in that, then Krishna has his another anugraha. Harishyetad dhanam shanaihi yasyaham anugranami. If I become specifically favored, merciful to someone, first thing I do, I take away all his belongings, so that he does not anymore is dependent on his material things. He becomes dependent on me. So that is also his mercy. Sometimes when the Lord sees that the distress the devotee is going to get because of his previous activities, previous karma, the Supreme Lord may give just a sample of that. Prabhupada gives the example. Let us say the person had to meet a horrible accident. He may escape with some small cut in his hand. Just a small token of his karma, the Supreme Lord may retain. And sometimes the Supreme Lord may put a devotee, according to his karma also, the Supreme Lord may sanction for him to undergo some kind of material tribulation. just to bring him to the right path. So, the hand of the Lord can be seen in the life of a devotee. When we don't recognize the hand of the Lord, then actually we are not advancing in devotional service. When we are seeing the hands of others, when we are seeing the hands of our misfortune, then we are not recognizing the presence of the Supreme Lord in our life. But when we start seeing the hand of the Supreme Lord, then actually we are advancing in devotional service. So, that is how the Supreme Lord acts, sitting in the heart of every living entity. Mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So he sanctions, upadrashta, he witnesses, he is the witness of everything we have done. We may have forgotten. Just like that great sage Mandukya Muni, he forgot that actually in his childhood he had pierced a small ant with a thorn. The Supreme Lord does not forget. He is the witness. So sitting as a witness in the heart, he sees. So this is another very important aspect of the Lord. Devotees should understand that. It is not that nobody is seeing, so let me do whatever nonsense it is possible. Later on I will just chant the holy name and all my nonsense will go away. No, the Lord has not taken a contract that you chant and all those nonsense, whatever we do, it will go away. It is actually an offense to the holy name. Intentionally, if someone performs different kinds of sinful activities, actually he is not understanding the truth that the Supreme Lord is witnessing. One should understand the Supreme Lord is present. He is seeing, he is witness to all these activities. So, the Supreme Lord is witness, the Supreme Lord gives sanction. And when the living entity, he wants to return back to Godhead, or when he wants to forget the Supreme Lord, he facilitates that also. Mattaha smritim. If he wants to remember, the Supreme Lord will give him smritim. And if he wants to forget him, he will give him intelligence even to forget him. Where is God? Who is God? There is no God. Everything is shunya. Isn't it? He gives him that facility also. Mattaha smritim jnanam apohanam cha. So Prabhupada explains, just imagine the different varieties of work the Supreme Lord has to carry out as Paramatma. There are anantaya kalpate, innumerable living entities, cannot be even counted. Nityo nityanam, they are plural in number, he is singular, but we are all plural in number, innumerable. Innumerable living entities having innumerable desires. Every living entity is different from another, different desires. And imagine, as a Paramatma in the heart of every living entity, he has to satisfy their millions of living entities' desires, sanctions their different activities, going into different species of life along with the living entity as a witness. How much work the Supreme Lord has to do for the sake of the living entity. Isn't it? And how this is possible? Atma Maya. It is all possible by the internal potency of the Lord. All these are carried out, as it is said here, Antaha Purusha Rupena Kala Rupena Yobahi Samanveti Esha Sattvanam Bhagavan Atma Mayaya. This is all made possible by the internal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, these are all the varieties of different manifestation of the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada explains that actually this cannot be understood by atheistic class of people, by Mayavadis, this cannot be understood. They put their logic on the Supreme Lord, material logic they apply. So for them, they think if the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, just like here it is said, Anta Purusha Rupena Bahir, He is present inside, He is present outside, then according to them, He does not have any other individual separate existence apart from what we see in this material manifestation. There is no separate God as per them. So, the Lord has become, that Supreme has become distributed as Brahman. So this is their understanding. So that is why they are called Nirvisheshavadi. They cannot understand the Supreme Lord still has His personal form. He still personally exists separately. Paramatma is just His localized feature, His expansion. So they cannot understand this. So that is possible only through surrender, only through devotional service of the Lord. So Prabhupada in one of his lecture explains that actually for these kind of people it is very difficult. Bahunam janmanam ante. It takes them many lifetimes to come to the point of understanding Vasudevam Sarvamiti. All these things I am seeing in this material existence is made possible only by Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. And that Mahatma, such a soul, great personality is very rare. Of course, Prabhupada also explains that by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, even in this age of Kali Yuga, which is filled with so many faults, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally has come to demonstrate how to understand Krishna by Sankirtana movement. Otherwise, it is not possible. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschit mam veti tatvatah. Otherwise, this is the process. Out of millions and millions of human beings, very few people are trying to get siddhi. Out of people who have achieved siddhi, hardly very few people know me about. In truth, isn't it? And if we are able to understand Krishna in truth today, then it is all by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, anyone who understands Krishna in truth, actually he is a guru. Yei Krishna Tattva Vetta Sei Guru Haya. So, anyone who understands Krishna properly, in truth, actually he can preach Krishna consciousness. And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even demonstrated. He demonstrated that even though he was a sannyasi, he demonstrated that even though he was born in a Brahmanical family, he was a Brahmana, but still he took lessons from Ramananda Raya, who was considered to be Shudra. And then he encouraged him, saying, Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi. No, it does not matter whether one is a Vipra or one is a sannyasi. Yei Krishna Tattva Vidya. So anyone who understands Krishna Tattva, he can preach Krishna consciousness everywhere. And of course, preaching Krishna consciousness and making our life successful, both goes hand in hand. Devotees specifically should be very much convinced of this fact that unless I make my life perfect, I cannot make a person Krishna conscious. And that is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that famous verse, he says, Jivana sarthak kari, karo paropkar. First thing we have to do is we have to make our life perfect, and then we have to preach Krishna consciousness everywhere. Sometimes we find even in devotional service, if we have imbalances between our proper sadhana and we are just outreaching to people in the name of preaching, we find we become engrossed in material conception of life. We lose taste, we lose enthusiasm, because until and unless there is a proper balance between what we practice and what we preach, it will be an anomaly. If we don't practice what we preach, it will not be effective. If the doctor is telling somebody, don't smoke, and he's smoking himself, it will not be effective. So, if the devotees become convinced of this, then actually devotees will be very peaceful. That I will perform my sadhana bhakti to the best of my capacity, so that I develop a taste. If we don't develop a taste for Krishna consciousness, if we don't develop a taste for attending the different angas of sadhana, then it becomes very difficult to carry on. One devotee in Bangalore was asking me this question. He met me. He was saying, Prabhu, I have so much of zeal of preaching. I want to go out and meet people, all those things. But somehow, I don't have the same zeal for attending sadhana. And then he was giving me example. I get up in the Mangala Arati somehow or other, and then after Mangala Arati I go and sleep. 1.5 hours I go and sleep. I don't have, somehow or other, because Mangala Arati is made very essential, and if you don't come for Mangala Arati, you will be called fallen. So somehow or other I get up and come for Mangala Arati, but after that I have no energy to come for other programs. See? So this is a short circuit. This zeal of preaching is our passion. We have to analyze, it could be our passion. Want to go and preach and bang more and more number of people, isn't it? Actually, the real zeal will come when your sadhana is proper. That spiritual energy should move us, not this material passion. This material passion we can engage somehow or other in Krishna's service, but this cannot sustain our spiritual life. We should understand that. You see? So, I advised him that actually, if you are really overburdened, you should approach your authority. If you feel, because sometimes what happens, we live in social group and we live on social platform. So he was himself giving me an example. That Mangala Arati, when scores are read, and if I have collection, I feel very enthusiastic. And if I don't have collection, then I feel very depressed. So are we living similarly on social platform? Isn't it? And then what do? So sometimes, let us say, on that material platform we live in order to get applause from others. Go out, no reading, not completing our chanting, sadhana time missing, planning for my preaching at that time. And then, yes, sometimes for some time good collections may come also. But then, lastingly, we will not be able to maintain that enthusiasm. Because that enthusiasm is coming from result. Appreciation of the result you are getting. Many examples like this are there. One devotee used to collect very nicely in Bangalore. And when he was sent to Hubli for some time and he failed to collect, he would not go out for months. Just imagine. Results are coming, he is very enthusiastic, going out, everything, people are applause, biggest collector. And when he came and could not collect here, because people mentality here is different, and so many factors are involved in collection. It's not just our endeavor alone. And months together not going out, not coming for sadhana. See? And then eventually, of course, he left. So, it is very important. The devotees have a proper balance in their sadhana and seva. It is attending your sadhana properly, you will get spiritual strength, proper kind of attitude, proper perception towards your service. Otherwise, we will take it as material service, and over a period of time it will be burden. Just like Prabhupada says, all over the world the temples are empty. People are thinking the deity worship like a galagraha. They are thinking it is a burden. You see. In the GBC, recently when we had a meeting, we had this discussion that sometimes the devotees, they are enthusiastic about preaching, right? But when it comes to some personal service of the Lord, which does not have much social status, devotees are not inclined. They're not inclined. Just like actually you imagine, somebody has to, let us say he's given the service of washing the personal vessels of the Lord. Is it something less? Just imagine what kind of service it is. But because we are not advanced spiritually, we are living on some kind of social platform. And the same devotee, when Abhishekam is done in the public, I want to do, I am senior devotee. You are not giving me chance for doing Abhishekam. And when it comes to personal washing the plates of the Lord, I am not inclined. Because nobody is seeing, nobody is glorifying. Here Abhishekam, everybody will see, I am senior. See this? How we live on gradually over a period of time on social platform. Of course, don't blame the circumstances. All these things will be there. Maya test is there. Krishna will make, Maya will make our ground like this. Isn't it? We have to learn from the lives of great Goswamis. They left everything. They left everything and they simply accepted lion cloths for welfare of the people. Very important. Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe. That has to be understood. Everything has relation with Krishna, it should be utilized. But not for our sense gratification. Social status may be there. Designations may be there. They can all be helpful, no doubt, in Krishna consciousness. But if we become attached to them, then actually it becomes a material society. It's no better than any other material competitive society. So we have to learn from their lives. How simple life they used to lead. Most advanced, but most simple. Not sophisticated life. Isn't it? So that is how we have to learn. So, this is possible if we understand that actually whatever Prabhupada has given in Krishna consciousness is actually so much filled with potency that if we follow whatever Srila Prabhupada has given, then we can advance in Krishna consciousness. So, this is called tapasya. In the morning, getting up. Otherwise, what is the life? Dogs and cats cannot perform tapasya. Their life is not meant for tapasya. So if you are not feeling the zeal of coming for temple program, and if you are missing it and you don't even repent, then we have not developed taste for Krishna consciousness. Our days will pass. We should understand. Life will come to an end. So many people are living this material world. So we should think. And if we take sufficient rest properly, if we have a proper balance, is it really required? Devotee has to bunk the different program, go and sleep? Will it be really required? No doubt. If you have taken proper rest, if you have not taken, sometimes body may not permit. So for that we have to work. That how can I miss the different programs, whatever Srila Prabhupada has given. Whatever it is required to adjust my different kinds of routine work, I should adjust and see to it that I am able to do justice to my sadhana. And then you can remain without any kind of anxiety in Krishna consciousness. If proper sadhana is there, the spiritual vital force required will be there. If we don't have proper sadhana, then to sustain proper attitude, perceptions in Krishna consciousness, in doing our service is very difficult, and we will be simply carrying it out on material platform. Imagine, just like if somebody wants to save his time, let us say some prescribed service is put, and somehow or other he wants to avoid it. Prabhu, back pain, back pain aa gaya hai. Isn't it? Krishna is witness. You can cheat the authority, you cannot cheat the Lord. Isn't it? Of course, if it is genuine, no doubt, and the authority will not say you are not genuine. Isn't it? We have to go by the words of the devotee. What can be done? Authority is not the loser. The loser is the devotee who got a chance to do his prescribed duty. He did not do it because of some whatever different reasons he may give. So, in that sense, actually, it is very, very important that we have to place a lot of importance on our sadhana. We have to hear the holy name of the Lord, and this is the best thing you can do. Take it for granted. Nothing more than that is required. What you do, just absorb your mind in that. While chanting, just absorb your mind in chanting. When you are in Kirtan, just absorb your mind in Sankirtan. When you are doing service, be fully absorbed in your service. That time I have to chant, I have to do this, I have to do that. No! Everything is related to the Lord. Yena kena prakarena manaha Krishna nivasya. This is how the Goswamis they have worked out. The spiritual master has worked out. You cannot chant 64 rounds daily. Not possible. You will think of women. You will think of money. So spiritual master has given, okay, 16 rounds you chant. And he has given a program. Attend that program. And balance time, fully be absorbed. Isn't it? The more you hear, then you will know that when I am washing the plates of the Lord, this is not ordinary. This is the plates of the Lord. It's personally eaten by the Lord. And I am showing indifference to it. What kind of attitude I am having? What kind of advancement I am having in devotional service? Isn't it? That is what we have to understand. So we'll stop with this. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki